Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we'll be tackling another infamous conservative argument which details that implementing a federal minimum wage of $15 is deleterious to our economy. We can start off by mapping the conservative argument for this topic. Essentially, what conservatives claim is that by artificially increasing the minimum wage, it will correspond with a decrease in jobs. They cite supply and demand as a form of justification for this line of reasoning, and because of increasing the minimum wage, jobs will go down, and because of the lack or reduction in job opportunities, that will have a net negative consequence on the economy. Some conservatives claim that companies simply don't have the financial resources to provide that $15 minimum wage, but that just isn't a compelling argument. If CEOs have millions and millions of dollars that they give to themselves in their annual bonuses and in their annual wages, then they can provide a snippet or a small portion of that and provide that to their employees. Ultimately, it's a choice that they're making to give themselves more money rather than giving their employees that $15 minimum wage. I think something that I want to tackle first is this idea that implementing a federal minimum wage is a net negative to the economy. Many economists agree that by implementing and enforcing a $15 federal minimum wage, that it has a net positive effect on the economy. To just walk you through this thought process that many economists have outlined in their studies, by giving the lower class more money to work with, they have more opportunity, more money, and more resources to spend in the economy. And by allowing them to spend that money, you are in fact stimulating the economy, not detracting from it. At the same time, by providing more money to the lower class, you are increasing utility and you're increasing happiness and joy in accordance to the marginal utility theory. Because while billionaires and CEOs have millions and millions of dollars, and they don't really value that $1 as much as a lower class person would or a minimum wage worker would. Now, you might be asking yourself, are there any real world case studies that can be looked upon to test whether or not a federal minimum wage is viable? Well, in fact, there are. New York and Seattle are just two of the several metropolises around the US that have a $15 minimum wage. And in those cities, it is evident that by implementing that $15 minimum wage, jobs do not decrease by a significant figure, and the net pay that these employees receive increase by astronomical figures. In New York, restaurant employees, have seen their net take home pay increase by 20% and more. And in Seattle, employees either get to work less hours and take home the same amount of money, or they can have their net take home pay increase significantly. And thus, by looking at these real world case studies, we can see how by increasing the federal minimum wage, we can bring whole swaths of people out of poverty while decreasing poverty, and by increasing the amount of opportunity that American citizens have. While some people may still remain tentative on this idea that the minimum wage will not affect employment at large, many economists agree that the minimum wage will not decrease the amount of job opportunities, but will in fact proliferate and stimulate the job market. Ultimately, the argument boils down to whether or not you believe that the benefits outweigh the costs. The benefits for implementing that federal minimum $15 wage are that millions and millions of people will be uplifted from poverty and will be finally given that living wage that they so much desire. On the other hand, the negatives are that employment opportunities may decrease by a marginal amount, and that the rich aristocracy continue to prosper and continue to fill their pockets without as much money as they possibly can. And I'm not saying that increasing the federal minimum wage to an exorbitant amount will undoubtedly have a negative effect on the economy. But by providing anything less than $15 as a wage, you are dooming people to a life in poverty. You are supplying them with inadequate funds to live a proper and civilized existence and to have that living wage. You are dooming them to a life of poverty. That's just not right in my opinion, and that should not be right in a nation as prosperous as America. And that's why, in my opinion, the federal minimum wage should be at the minimum $15.